everyone and welcome back to Rybrook TV, and today we've got a bit of a treat for you guys, and it's also a bit of a treat for myself because I really like the older stuff. We've got this 1993 Land Rover Discovery. This was a car born out of necessity. The Range Rover brand offering covered both the utility commercial sector with its incredibly popular Defender, and had won over the hearts and minds of the luxury SUV market with its offering of the Range Rover. But it was losing sales to the likes of Mitsubishi and Toyota in that middle ground. The team at Land Rover tasked themselves with building a car that was more affordable than the flagship Range Rover, but more usable and easier to live with than the Defender. Codenamed Project J, the team decided to pare down a Range Rover rather than try to spec up a Defender. The end result was the Discovery Series 1, a car with all of that Range Rover DNA flowing through it, but it was more affordable and more usable for the modern family. So how did they keep costs down? Well, they started by raiding the Rover parts bin. For example, these headlights. They are off of the Rover freight van. Then the door handles, well, if you are familiar with a number of British Leyland vehicles, you'll notice these are off of the Austin Montego. And at the rear, we have tail lights, and the inside, a number of the stalks and switches are all from the Austin Maestro. And finally, they built the Discovery on the already well-developed Range Rover platform, and they set about designing a new exterior. Upon its launch, the Discovery was only available as a 3-door. The logic to this was to ensure that the sales of Range Rover weren't cannibalised by this new Discovery. It was also available as a 7-seater. For the first time ever, Land Rover were offering a car which would fit the whole family. And that's where this now iconic raised roofline with these safari windows first came into play, because the 2 rear seats were actually positioned in the boot of the car. And these windows and the raised roofline offered rear seat passengers that extra level of comfort. Now, if you follow me to the rear of the car, there's a couple of little key bits around here I want to talk about too. When we step around the back, we see for the first time on a Land Rover product, the spare wheel is now mounted to the boot lid. The reasoning for this was to allow extra floor room underneath and get those extra 7 seats in. We also have this nice line within the window that was carried through for a number of generations on the Discovery, this kind of dip in the glass. This is a rudimentary form of parking sensors. You see, this is designed long before parking sensors were standard on pretty much every car you buy these days. This extra dip here allowed the driver to look back through the rear window and see just how close he was to any objects behind it. In 1990, we finally saw the 5-door introduced to the range. And again, to help with keeping costs down, the rear doors were nicked directly off of the Range Rover. And in 1992, the beige interior was added to the option list. Before that, well, you could only get it in blue. And electric windows, central locking, and electric mirrors were all optional extras. This being one of the later models, it was optioned with that beige interior, and with that red paintwork, I think it looks terrific. There's a real contrast, and it definitely looks its age, but not in a bad way. The interior in this particular example is near mint condition, and it's aged terrifically well. I think the architecture of the interior, well, is very 90s, and I really like that vibe. And it's when you get inside the car, this is when you start to really realise where the crossover between what the Range Rover offered customers and how the Defender worked for customers. Well, you can see how Land Rover brought the two together. We've got all this rubber matting here on the dashboard and down on the floors and all around the centre console to protect it from any scratches should you want to actually use it as a work vehicle. We've also got this iconic grab handle here on the dashboard for when you're off-roading and the passenger needs to make sure they don't go flying out of any open windows. But we have that lovely luxury fit and finish that you were familiar with from things like the Range Rover. These really supportive, big, comfortable seats that give you a beautiful view out in this kind of like high seating position. All these bespoke switches and stuff all around the centre console, and this nice architectural shaped dashboard. And at the time, this would have been state-of-the-art technology. We've got this little digital clock down here, gone with the analogue ones. We've got a proper digital clock. The radio, automatic gearbox. This particular one, it was optioned with electric mirrors and electric windows and central lock-in, so it had all of the mod cons. A couple of my favourite features in here are, well, this quirky centre console. This is actually a removable carry case, so you can, well, put your packed lunch in it or use it for your briefcase for work, taking it to work with you. So once you've parked the car, carry that in with you, and then you put it back, and you've got yourself a nice padded armrest for long journeys. It's all quintessentially 90s, isn't it? This analog radio and all these switches and stuff down here on the dash. have set you back £16,000. And you had a choice of a 2.5 litre TDI engine, which is what we've got fitted in this model, or you could have gone for a 3.5 litre V8. Neither of them were particularly gutsy cars. 60 miles an hour is achievable, but only just. But the car was never designed to be a performance car. It was always designed to be a middle ground sort of luxury crossover slash off-roader. It was, well, as I've said, it was there to sell to the modern family. It was a car designed to be easy to drive, the sort of thing that anyone with a driving license could jump behind the wheel of and run to the shops. And even the most experienced farmers and off-road enthusiasts would also be able to use every single day and know that they weren't going to get themselves stuck in the mud. For me, 90s cars are some of the best that you can buy. They're enjoyable, they're full of character, and you strip back all of that technology and driver-aided assistance and you get back to the bare bones of driving. And it's just so much fun. This has got to be one of my favourite cars that I've driven for the channel this year. It's just, well, it's right up my street. It's an old classic that doesn't pretend to be anything other than a utility vehicle for carrying the family around in. Today, a clean, tidy example like this set you back anywhere between £8,000 and £10,000, which, given the current economic climate of, well, the value of used cars and second-hand cars, especially desirable classics, I think anywhere between £8,000 and £10,000 for an example like this, well, that represents remarkable good value for money, and it's definitely an extremely sound investment. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video today. Really hope you've enjoyed this look around this Series 1 Discovery. And yeah, make sure you like the channel, subscribe, and join us again for more videos to come in the future. Thank you very much, guys. We'll see you in the next one. This thing's brilliant. You can just go around here all day. This thing's just so capable. Up we go. Oh, it's so much fun.